everyone. Welcome to our course, Green Economy from China's Stories. In this course, we will learn about the theory and concept of ecological footprint. First of all, let's take a look at this concept diagram. There is an balance. Measuring ecological footprint and ecological carrying capacity. When calculating ecological footprint and ecological carrying capacity, we can tell whether there is a balance between them. When we mention ecological footprint of a region or a group of people exceeds its ecological carrying capacity, that means there is an ecological deficit. Ecological deficit refers to ecological footprint exceeding its ecological carrying capacity, and this region may have sustainability issues. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the right side. If ecological footprint of a region is less than its ecological carrying capacity, then the balance will lean to the right. When the balance leans to the right, it means that the region has an ecological surplus. In this case, environmental resources of this region can support the normal operation of economic activities. To understand ecological footprint and ecological carrying capacity, we should master these core concepts. The following diagram may help us to learn more about the concept of ecological land. There are two arrows pointing to ecological land, which are produce resources and assimilate wastes. Let's imagine that a person, a family, population of a city or a country during normal process of production and life needs to consume resources and will produce wastes. Therefore, to produce the resources and to assimilate wastes requires lands with certain ecological functions. For example, to make a car, you need steel, which comes from iron ore. What kind of land may provide these resources to you? It involves the lands for building steel mills and mining iron ores. Meanwhile, it involves lands for backfilling the scrapped vehicles, which refers to the land volume of assimilating wastes. When calculating ecological footprint, the international practice refers to the following 6 components of ecological footprint. Let's take a look at them. The first one is fossil fuel land, also known as carbon footprint. When calculating CO2 emissions from activities of production and life, excluding the fraction absorbed by the oceans, it represents the amount of forest land that could sequester the CO2. The second one is grazing land. What does it supply to us? It represents the amount of grazing land used to raise livestock for meat, dairy, hide, and wool products. For example, if we want to eat meat and drink milk, then we should have grazing land to raise livestock. The next one is fishing grounds. It is calculated from the estimated production requirement to support the fish and seafood caught. For example, if we want to catch 1 ton or 1 kilogram salmon, what is area of ocean required to supply these marine products? When we consume 1 fish or 1 caddy of fish, we need to have corresponding fishing grounds. Then go down clockwise, which is the built-up land. Built-up land represents the amount of land covered by infrastructure. For example, the community we live in, the area occupied by our house, the area occupied by our office building, and the main area occupied by our teaching building. And built-up land refers to the aforesaid area. Next one is forest. The timber products we use in our production and life is supplied by forest. For example, to make a wooden chair, how much timber do we need? And a certain amount of forest is required to supply the timber. The last one is cropland, the food we eat in daily life. For example, bread, which is made from wheat. Where does the wheat come from? It comes from the cropland. We need to think about that if we eat 1 ton or 1 kilogram of bread. What is amount of cropland should be used to grow crops for food? This page shows us the concept of ecological land and 6 components of ecological land. Then, let's talk about the ecological carrying capacity, which corresponds to the ecological footprint. Based on the definition of ecosystem, without compromising the productivity and functional integrity, the maximum amount of sustainable resources and rate of waste production equals to the ecological carrying capacity. According to the ecological footprint theory, we define the ecological carrying capacity as the total area of ecological lands in one region, which represents ecological carrying capacity of that region. That is to say, how many resources you can use in this region is the ecological capacity, which is defined according to this theory. In this course, we have introduced the concepts related to ecological footprint.